Yeah, practice was good. Team is in good spirits. They're training really well. Everyone's focused and ready for the challenge that lies ahead.
How were you able to? Well, of course, it was a celebratory mood for the team after that victory Tuesday. And how were you able to align the team to get down to Baco to work before heading into Norway?
Yeah, look, the lucky thing that we've been together for 18 months now, but we've been to 4 or 5 different tournaments or qualifiers, and we've learnt the routine of how to refocus, whether it's a good result or whether it's a bad result, and that's really one of the strengths of this team is that we're able to refocus so quickly, and there's a real sense of maturity around this team, around that process. So it's one of the real strengths of this team.
Coach, may I ask you, you've been in this situation many times before, and for the Philippines, it's such an amazing opportunity on Sunday. How are you feeling personally about, just not about the team and about what's ahead?
Yeah, look, I just know it's going to be a big challenge. It's unbelievable to think that we're in this position. Any neutral person around the world would have not put any money on us to be in this position. To be ahead of Norway on the league table after 2 matches was almost unheard of from any neutral pundit.
Yes.
So we're in that position, and we've earned the right to be in that position. So that gives me a lot of belief and confidence, but at the same time I have a lot of respect for them. They're former World Cup winners. They're former Olympic gold medalists, so the pedigree within the country and the history of their country in women's football is enormous. And they've got a Ballon d'Or winner. They've got players playing at the highest level at Barcelona, and not only playing for Barcelona, they're probably the best players at Barcelona. So we know that the challenge is immense and huge, but the World Cup's already produced so many upsets, and
Right.
why can't there be another one?
Yeah. Given the worldwide recognition that the Philippines is getting, it's been all news agencies all around the world. How do you keep the team focused on the task at hand? I know everybody individually wants to win, but how do you just get them at the right mindset for the next important game?
Yeah, look, at this point in time, we'll reflect on what the world thinks of us later on, but at the moment we're just worried about the task at hand. That's enough of an issue, worrying about our opponent and ensuring that we're in good health and in a good mindset as well. So you've got to block out all that other stuff and noise, whether it's good noise or bad noise. But we just don't need all that at the moment in terms of the group. They're full of confidence and belief, and again, they've earned the right to feel like that and be in this position, in terms of confidence, but also with points on the board. So we've got to block all that out and just realise that we've got a wonderful opportunity to further bolster the sport within the Philippines. It's a moment, and it's an element that only football can bring. There are so many wonderful sports, and I love so many sports around the world, whether it's individual or team, but only football can unite the world and unite a country, and it really has that power because anyone can play regardless of size, gender, colour, religion. It really is the one sport that doesn't discriminate, and that's why it's the most popular sport in the world.
Coach, Norway is ranked number 12 in the world, but there are reports about players injured and not satisfied with their playing time. Do you think it will have an effect on the game?
Well, look, we don't know what's going on in their camp. We saw that Hedberg went off last game, but as everyone knows, you never knock a champion, and she's a champion, and she's earned the right to be a champion. You don't get Player of the World awards unless you're an amazing footballer. So we've got an immense amount of respect for her as an individual and for their team, and I'm sure every team's got their own issues, and just because theirs may be publicised, we know that all that stuff can be exaggerated. But I'm also wary of the wounded animal as well. They would have taken a hit to their pride, and they can come out fighting, and they're not champions for no reason. Champions always know how to fight back and come back. So we have to be ready for that.
Is there any concerns that the team must address against Norway? Rather, what do you see in Norway that the team must be concerned about?
Look, they're just they've got a bunch of world-class players. They're a fantastic team, and you don't get to be at the top of the world. They're ranked 12, but they have been in the top 10 basically the last 20 or 30 years. So they've got an amazing pedigree and culture around women's football. They started a league. Those Scandinavian countries around Norway, including Norway, have had women's leagues for 30, 40 years when no one else really cared about women's football. So when you've got that history, you've also got that little bit of accountability and pressure, which they do. But there's no doubt that they're team, and that's why they were the favourite to win the group initially.
Coach, all this preparation leading to the World Cup, would you say that we need to peak at the right time? I guess. What would you say? I guess you can say we're peaking right now. We're at a high. And what would you say has been the most key element for the success so far of the team with both games and leading up to the next one?
Yeah, look, to be honest, I actually think we played better against Switzerland. Sometimes
okay.
a result masks performance, good and bad. But I was really pleased with how we went out in that first game. And considering it was the first game of the country at that level, it's so often the case that you can be overawed by the occasion, and our players weren't. So to go into that game and compete with Switzerland, and that game we certainly didn't get the rub of the green. The penalty that could have went either way, and the offside call that was very tight. It was almost the opposite of what happened in the New Zealand game, where we did sort of ride our luck a little bit. So I think we have peaked. It's an amazing group. To think of where we've come from. When I started here, we were ranked 20, 30 places lower. Had never beaten or drawn against Thailand, Vietnam and Myanmar, and now we're winning matches at the World Cup. So, we've gone a stratosphere in 18 months in progression, and to be able to keep your composure and belief and confidence throughout that whole time is amazing. And the players deserve a lot of credit for how much effort they've put into themselves on and off the field.
Coach, is there more pressure right now because a win will put the team in round 16? Is there a bit more
there is
more
pressure. That's great. Yeah, it's brilliant. That's what you want. You're at a World Cup. There's going to be pressure. If you don't like pressure, you shouldn't be playing elite sport. The unique part about this group, and it doesn't always happen in a World Cup group, and we've seen another group with Japan and Spain where the last round is almost irrelevant and redundant. Both teams are already through. This is one of those groups where all 4 teams can go through, and all 4 teams need a result. Switzerland they're on top, and they can still lose their spot in the next round. And Norway are on the bottom, and they can, if any team wins, they're through. So it's a really unique group and shows that it's tight and tough. And we've got to be ready for the battle. But pressure will be on everyone. It'll be equal.
Last one from me, Coach. Everyone knows that you're the man that made this team and got them to where they are, and everyone, of course, in the Philippines is already applauding the job that you've done. What would you like to say to all the Filipinos who are now amazing football fans? I'm sure you've heard about the tremendous celebration
in the shopping center.
Huh?
Brilliant.
Oh.
Loved it.
Yeah, but I mean, what you've done and them out here so strong that have really pushed the girls.
Yeah, look, there's a couple of things around that. First of all, it's not a one-person job. We've got an amazing staff. So many staff members who have come from all parts of the world, a core chunk that have been with me for a long time, and without them, nothing works. So we're all just one piece in this jigsaw puzzle. I do my role, they do their role, but we're all a cohesive unit and really unified together. So I guess that's a starting point, that the credit is equally shared amongst all of us, because we all put in the same amount of effort and sacrifice and dedication and passion. And I think that everyone can see that those qualities come out when we're coaching together as a group. It's not a one-man band without, for sure. But in terms of the fans back home, I hope that Philippines really embrace football. As I said, it's a one sport that unifies the world and can unify every country. And I think it should really get a foothold back in the country in terms of support, in terms of participation, in terms of engagement. I love basketball, and I've become a massive NBA fan in the last 3-4 months. Watching the Denver Nuggets and Jokic, who's now my favourite player. But ultimately, football is the one sport, and it's the world sport. And it's a world sport for the reason that I said before. It's universal because anyone can play. You don't need a lot of equipment. You just need 2 little goals and a ball, and you can play 2v2 in the street, 3v3. And that's why it's grown over the last 150 years to be basically religion in 80-90% of the world, and that's why people love the game and have the passion for the game. So hopefully we've just planted those first few seeds of football's.